boxing on Channel 5. Defending his name, his legacy, Harlem Eubank. Battling his way up the super lightweight rankings. Can he remain undefeated? Big Fight Live, Eubank versus Uruzquieta, Friday at 10 on Channel 5.
1 2 1 2. This is... You do the intro. Go on.
1 2 1 2. You were just doing that before we started. This is Frank Smith for IFL TV. I'm here with my favourite promoter, KUGAN CASSIUS. We're sponsored by Everlast and Sports Direct, and we film stuff. I'm here with my favourite promoter, KUGAN CASSIUS. Let's go, KUGAN.
How are you, Frank, first of all?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Another fight week. Feels like every week is a fight week. It's great fun. How are you?
I'm good. It's interesting at press conference situations now because, obviously, if Hearn ain't here, obviously everyone tries to, go to you as, no disrespect, second fiddle, right? But even when Hearn's there, people still seem to seek your opinion on boxing matters, which is good.
Yes, and I say apparently the exact same thing as Hearn says in a more monotone way. So, basically, if you want to come and hear it in a more boring voice and hear what Eddie thinks, just speak to me. I'm your man. Although, yesterday I was quite busy, so I said no to everyone. I felt like a superstar, I was like, I can't do it. But I got too much paperwork to do sometimes, so sometimes I like to hide out the way and make sure my paperwork's all stacked up, done nice and neat, Coop.
It's mad, isn't it? What, you 29?
I'm 30 now.
You're 30. You were the Matchroom T-boy, literally. Were you ever the Matchroom T-boy?
I was more than a Matchroom.
Right, well, I'm just saying, right? You were the Matchroom T-boy, and within 12 years, you're the CEO of Matchroom. I mean, fucking hell. To be fair play.
Look, I've made up. I made my way through. Do you know what I get? What annoys me is I'm 30, right? I met Eddie when he was 28 or something. We didn't really start back in boxing until he was about 30. So I get compared to him now, not to him when he was 30. Watch back some of his old press conferences. They were double bad. They were worse than mine. So I will never be as good as him, but please, if you're going to compare me to him 14 years ago, because he's getting old now. He's 43 or 44. So I am what he was when we started back in boxing. So compare me to that, and then hopefully I can improve over time. Hopefully I'll still be involved when I'm 44.
I don't know if you knew, but there is a different way to watch The Zone this week, and it's on Channel 429 on your Sky Box. I don't know if that's been mentioned this week, but apparently that's the case.
I haven't seen it, but what I have heard is that The Zone is now the most accessible boxing platform out there. It's Channel 429 on Sky. It's on Virgin. It's in your pubs, clubs, bars now. It's on your PlayStation, on your Xbox. It's on your iPhone, on your Android, Apple TV, App Store. Download it on your smart TV, on your iPads, on your laptops, anywhere. I've probably missed a couple, but it's everywhere, which is good. So no one can say what they used to say, that it's not accessible to everyone. It's accessible to more than any other platform out there, which is good. And what a weekend to have it kicking off with as well.
Whose idea was that promo that Hearn was on? Because I literally watched it and went, what the fuck is this? He's mentioning Tyson Fury, Simon Jordan, and then going into a full rant about what you've just basically done now.
I don't know. I watched it this morning. I didn't know anything about it. It's the first I saw of it. It was actually quite good, to be fair. A bit cheesy. I don't know whether he came up with it on the spot. He's quite good at that type of thing, but it was the first I've heard of it. I liked it. Put together well. Like the way he ended it with a wink. I thought he went in. What are he going on? Simon Jordan again and Roman Kemp and Fury. Sounds about right. But no, it was an entertaining way of explaining what I just said. Again, I'm the more monotone version. He said it in a nice, entertaining way in a minute and a half.
Okay, let's talk about this weekend. Anthony Joshua back at the O2, and for a very long time, non-pay-per-view. Lot of talk about tickets. Eddie Hearn said that it didn't go as quick as he would have anticipated, but we are going to have a very full house at the O2 on Saturday night. What do you put it down to? your background is also involved with tickets previously. So what do you put that down to? The fact that that didn't sell as quick as what you would have wanted?
Yeah, look, I think the key is it's going to be sold out come Saturday night. That's the most important thing. I think the market's going to change a bit. You know, it's tough times for people. People aren't spending as much money, and when they are, they're leaving it till a bit later. And I think that's what we're going to see with a lot of shows moving forward. You know, there are certain people who've got certain views that this is a fight, an easier comeback fight that he's just going to walk through. They are always a bit of a tougher sell. That's the reality of it. But like I say, come Saturday night, it's going to be sold out. Some people will argue you only price it perfectly if it sells out the day before. If it sells out in 12 minutes, maybe it's too cheap. I'm not saying that, by the way, because I'll get killed for all the times I said how great it was it sold out in 12 minutes. But look, AJ's huge. We all know the pulling power he's got. You only have to look at this week, the media around, the coverage on it. It shows how powerful AJ still is. So, you know, I think the key was come Saturday night, it's full up in there, and it'll be a packed house at the O2. Looking forward to being back in there. It's been, 6 years since he boxed at the O2? As you say, off pay-per-view as well, for the first time in 5 or 6 years, something like that. So, you know, it's a big moment for him, and I'd say this is one of the most important parts of his career, because from here he steps back on into those mega fights that we want to see him in. You know, becoming world champion again. That's the aim, and this is the biggest moment now and all the pressure's on him as well, because you know, it's not an easy fight against Jermaine Franklin. You know, we saw what Jermaine did against Dillian Whyte, and I think, you know, he's in for a tough test. But I think we're going to see the AJ of old and a great performance from him.
Yeah, AJ with a new trainer in Derek James, so that's interesting to see how that dynamic works. But yeah, I think pressure-wise for AJ, coming off the back of 2 losses to Alexander Usyk, which is absolutely no shame whatsoever in that whatsoever, but he has come off the back of them going into this fight era. It is huge pressure going into Saturday against someone really we don't know too much about. Like, from a British fan perspective, we know he put in a very good performance against Dillian Whyte. Some people thought he won that fight, Jermaine against Dillian Whyte. So this is, and he's got to look good doing it as well, Frank.
Yeah, look, a lot, like you say, a lot of people did think he won that fight against Dillian Whyte. You know, it was a close fight between the two of them. I think AJ, as you say, has got to go in there and look impressive. He's got to go back and get a big, you know, standout moment in there on Saturday night, and I believe he can do it. You know, I think the one thing to shout out as well is he's taken himself out of any comfort zone. You know, like, for people saying, is he still hungry? Is he still up for it? He's been away training in America for 10, 11 weeks. You don't do that if you lost interest or you've not got goals in the sport still. You know, he's still motivated more than ever to get back to winning ways. You know, the Usyk fights, like you say, he went in there against pound for pound one of the best current day fighters on the planet right now in Alexander Usyk. Lost 2 fights against him, yes. But the second fight, I mean, you know, the first fight we saw, but the second fight, even closer than the first fight, showed improvements in that fight. So, you know, by all means, a lot of pressure on him here, but he's dealt with pressure his whole career, is the reality. You know, because he's moved quickly. You know, he fought in a world title fight in his 16th fight or 15th fight, was it? So he's always been at that level, always been regarded at that level. So, you know, he knows what he's doing. Can you keep that mic out of my mouth, please? Out my tonsils. He knows how to deal with it. And I think, like I say, we're going to see a real standout performance from him come Saturday.
Certainly hope so. Well, did you watch Simon Jordan and Frank Warren?
I saw clips of it. I didn't watch the whole
They were
thing.
talking about Eddie Hearn.
No, not really. But the one thing that's interesting is I hear that Simon Jordan is going to be at the weigh-in tomorrow doing their live show.
That is correct, I think.
So
yeah.
I can't wait to go over and see him. But, Simon, my old son, because I think he hates me.
He calls you a bag carrier, doesn't he?
He calls me a bag carrier. I call him a failed businessman. So, you know, we can all have our little... It's all banter, though, isn't it? You can't take it too seriously. But he gets proper red in the face, doesn't he? So I'm going to go over to him tomorrow, see if he'll have a hug off me.
I'm going to be there. Wherever Simon, you and Eddie are, I'm just going to be there.
I think it will be more interesting with me and Simon, because I think he actually really hates me.
I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think Simon Jordan hates you. I just think, obviously, the back and forth with... is that Sonny Edwards?
I don't know. He's got a fighter on the card on Saturday, hasn't he? Yeah. He's got a fighter on the card on Saturday. He's working with with old Jordan Flynn. I don't know whether... Well, he calls me a bag carrier.
I don't know who started the back and forth, though.
I don't know. Like, it was quite upsetting for me being called a bag carrier. But I have the bag, secured the bag, Simon.
Okay. Well, look. Oh, do you want to answer that?
I don't have any AJ tickets. I don't want your tickets. I'm busy. We're just doing an interview. I'll call you back, he said.
Hold on. Let me just do this. Sorry, we just had to assist
Got a phone call.
Maurice James there, who's trying to get hold of Derek James. Oh, is it? They're related? I don't know. Anyway. Okay.
I don't know.
Let me
I
ask.
don't know why you gave it to me. I don't know.
Okay, sorry, momentary pause there. Okay, so let me ask your opinion, and you're qualified now to be involved in this conversation, which you always have been. When Hearn says, basically, that Joshua comes through Saturday night, he wants to open talks with George Warren, Frank Warren, about getting this AJ fight on straight away, right? He seems serious about doing it, but we've seen where this has kind of gone before with the fight not materialising for December. But is this a realistic possibility? Joshua comes through there. The fact that he's not fighting Alexander Usyk on April 29th. Could we see this fight finally happen in the summer of 2023?
Yeah, look, I think focus fully set on Saturday night. I think after that summit, a discussion that can move quite quickly for sure. I think what's going to be beneficial for it is that it sort of takes place without too many people talking about it, is the reality. Do you know what I mean? Like, rather than everyone saying, oh, this is where we're up to, this is what's happening, this is where it's going, this is who it's with at the minute, just let it happen. You know, and if those discussions happen in the background, great. And if we can make it happen, then great. And maybe in the past there's been too much talking, which has got everyone too excited for it, hasn't been delivered, and everyone's upset that it's not delivered. Maybe we need to do a bit of work in the background with no one knowing about it, no shouting on social media, and go from there. I think it can be made. I think we've spoken about before, obviously, that the beginning of a relationship with George Warren. You know, we made the John Ryder fight against Zach Parker on the Queensberry show, you know, and continue to have discussions about other things. So I think that's beneficial as well. So yes, I think something for Sunday or Monday of next week, if that's the route that wants to be taken.
I think it's a good move that 2 years ago that there was no dialogue between Matchroom and Queensberry at all. Now, not as much with obviously Frank and Eddie, but the fact that Eddie and George will speak about whatever is so positive that the two biggest stables, promotionally wise, in the country can actually pick up the phone and have a conversation.
Yeah, look, it can only be beneficial for the sport, and that's with everyone as well. You know, like, not everyone has to get along with each other. Not everyone has to have a relationship. But if people within teams can have relationships with people in other teams, then I think that's beneficial. Doesn't mean that always things are going to get done, because it doesn't always make sense for the respective parties and the fighters. You know, but I think at least having a conversation there and being able to quickly make things happen is good.
It's mad, isn't it? Like, boxing's such a crazy sport where everyone has their opinions on splits and how much he should get and they should get or she should get, whoever, whatever. And it's like, what does it matter to you? No, he shouldn't be getting 30%, he should be getting 40%. No, what, he should be getting this. And it's mad, isn't it? Everyone has their opinion, but everyone's kind of interested in it as well.
That's why boxing's so big, because look at social. When you go on social, outside of football, I think boxing and combat sports is one of the most discussed thing on social media. I mean, in my opinion, it should be 75-25 to AJ for that fight, but we'll leave that there. Let's not bring it up in camera.
That's the title you've already given me. I won't clickbait you, don't worry.
Thanks very much, mate. And then you can say it should be 75-25. That was just banter.
Well, listen, before any of this talk anyway, and after Saturday, if that's a possibility, obviously, if it's going to happen, it will happen this year. I think that's pretty clear if that fight is to materialise, but Joshua's got to actually do the job Saturday before this talk can continue. Yeah,
100%. Like I say, fully focused on that, and then we see from there what the route is. Can I ask you one question though? What split? Talking about splits, what split would it be for me against Simon Jordan?
Okay, very interesting. I would say that Simon Jordan has probably got a slightly bigger profile than you. Yep. How relevant is Simon Jordan in boxing compared to you? We've got to ask the question.
Probably bigger as well. Probably 1 on 2.
Do you know what?
I'm saying I would accept 70-30.
In your favour?
No, I'll let him have it. 70-30, I'd take it. And I'll give... Or 70-30 to the winner.
Don't take this the wrong way, yeah? But...
You beat me.
What, in a fight?
Yeah.
In a fight, if you two win in the ring, absolutely not. I'll back you in a fight. If you went on Talk Sport, though, he would crucify you.
Mate, I ain't going on Talk Sport with Simon Jordan. When I see him tomorrow, I'm going to give him a big hug and sort of take the mic away so he can't even ask me a question. You can't win with him.
Eddie Hearn just about come out of that, in my opinion. Done well, come out of that situation, but yeah.
That could have been a split decision. That, but I'm not getting involved with that. Not at all. No, that's what
you stay on IFL where it's comfortable.
Yeah.
You get
where they ask the easy questions. I'm staying on IFL where they don't ask tough questions of me.
Right, last one, Frank. What is the situation regarding currently? I know it's ever changing. We'll speak to Eddie Hearn about this tomorrow. What is the situation regarding the board allowing this fight to move forward potentially? It's not a given that this fight's going to happen between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank, but it is a fight that obviously you guys are speaking about. What is the situation with the board kind of giving their blessing for that fight to take place, in regards to Chris Eubank Jr., who's licensed by the board?
Yeah, look, for a fight in an international territory, it's not really the board's position to license the fight itself. You know, if a fighter, you know, if a fighter remains with the British Boxing Board of Control and remains to be sanctioned or have a license with them, there's maybe a question there. But obviously this is a fight in an international territory. It's not for the board to approve or disapprove the fight. The fight will happen. You know, the board, I think Eddie mentioned it, the board have to be careful in the way they go about things. They're calling people up, telling people not to license Conor Benn, for example. You know,
is that a fact? I heard that yesterday through some reports. Is that a fact? Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, it's funny because the board don't talk about anything at all. When have they don't comment on anything, really, ever. Have that in years. They don't really make comments.
This is the most vocal we've seen, whether it be social media, like statements, etc., in reference to the Conor Benn situation, yeah.
Yeah, so, but look, I think that's a conversation for another day. I'm very comfortable with the fight and the, you know, the reputable organisations that will be involved in the fight if it happens. So, you know, that's something for another day. Look, the fight's not made. So we're talking about something that isn't done. So that's probably a question for another day. You know, it's a fight we would love to make. It's a fight that's been spoken about, but it's not signed. I'm going to go to my room and sign it now, and then it will all be done.
I know people were reporting that this fight was done for June the 3rd. I know it's not signed, so I'm asking you questions which I already know. But theoretically, if Chris Eubank Jr. was to relinquish his British boxing licence, yeah, to go and fight, obviously Conor Benn, so forget the blessing of the board, he relinquished his licence to go and fight in the UAE on June the 3rd, hypothetically, do you think then we'd have a situation where Chris Eubank probably wouldn't get his licence back from the board if he was to reapply for it?
Look, I obviously don't represent Chris Eubank. I'm not going to say anything that says that I do. If this was a situation that you just explained, I'd find it very difficult because Chris Eubank has ultimately done nothing wrong at that point. You know, like, he's accepting of a fight. He's a boxer and he's got an opportunity. I think you'd have a lot. Like, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to go into legal talk, but I think you'd have a lot of problems with restraint of trade, etc., for someone who has done absolutely zero wrong, and is just, you know, ultimately this is their livelihood. This is what they do. But again, it's not for me to say. That's for him to say, or if this was another person in the same situation. It's something I'm not really concerned about, to be honest, if I'm completely open with you. You know, everyone's got an opinion on it, but that is something I am not personally worried about today.
Okay. We are going to ask soft questions to Eddie Hearn about this situation tomorrow.
soft questions only. That is the title.
But you like IFL, don't it? Because we ask you really mediocre, soft questions.
Yeah, that's why I love you. That's why we've sort of stayed around each other for 15 years, because basically...
There's a little bit of truth in this. By the way, there's a little bit of truth in this.
Look, we've got Umar Warren, we've got KUGAN Hearn, and we've got Raza Shalom. So...
I'm making no comment on this whatsoever. I'm open. I'll whore myself out to any promoter out there.
It's just banter, all a laugh. Let's enjoy ourselves. Tune in, all different platforms, Saturday night, Sky 429, Virgin, DAZN, laptop, iPhone, Android. I'm not picky, I'll have either. I've got an iPhone myself. PlayStation, Xbox, wherever you want, we're there. See you there. AJ, he's back. Jermaine Franklin, hello mate.
I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
Must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day,